Hi, I'm Dana, and it's time for this week's question. It comes from Brittany, and she says, our 1-year-old started to sleep through the night at 11 months in her own crib, but during the day she refuses to nap in her crib. Normally, she sleeps in our arms in the rocking chair for about an hour. How come she can go down great at night, but fights her crib so hard during the day? I find that typically naps are the most challenging part. I do find that it takes a few weeks for it to become established, and there's always much more protest than nights for the daytime naps. I mean, the good news is that she can do this at night, and those skills will eventually transfer over to the day, but it can be a really long process. I'm guessing that it's not ideal that she's napping in your arms for an hour either. I'm guessing that that's happening about twice a day, and that's frustrating and time consuming for everyone involved. So, I do suggest that you give this a good go for naps. I mean, ultimately, if you go back to work, or if a babysitter comes by, or you just want her to stay a few days with grandma, you're going to need her to become comfortable enough with going to sleep on her own for naps, so that this can be a job that anyone can do, and there's no real trauma involved every time somebody else has to try. So I would keep it very similar to what you're doing at night, if that's working well. So try to recreate the bedtime routine as close as you can. I mean, even if you get her into her jammies for nap, that can sometimes be helpful, because pajamas sort of really signal to a child that it's time for sleep. And I think, they're often much more comfortable than what they're wearing in the day, and it can just really encourage them to settle in and get nice and comfortable. So do as close as you can to the bedtime routine during the day, so she knows, okay, the steps are there, this just means it's sleepy time, it's nothing to be alarmed about. And keep it about 20 minutes if you can, just to really get her mind around the idea that it's time for nap. And then put her in her crib and make the room nice and dark too. That can be really helpful to stimulate sleep to come and keep them napping long enough. And then I'm not sure what you did at night to get her sleeping on her own in her own crib, but I would do the stay in the room method with her for nap time. So the first couple of days you're just going to stay right by the crib and say it's sleepy time, and try lying her down a few times, and giving her a few pats on the back and some gentle touching. And wait her out until she falls asleep. You want to give it a really good solid try, and by solid try I mean a good hour and 10 minutes, because you don't want her to think that a bit of crying and there's a way out of this. You really want her to know that nap time is totally non-negotiable, and it really is something that has to happen. And then as the days go on, you can slowly start to wean your way out of the room by backing up about 5 feet or so every 3 days, until she is comfortable with going to sleep on her own, and realizing that nap time is, maybe not preferred, but definitely something that has to happen in her day. If let's say on a really bad day, you tried for the hour and 10 minutes and she just wouldn't take the nap, you took a little break, gave her a bit of a snack, or took her mind off the idea, and then you tried again, and sort of 30 minutes goes by the second time and she's still not napping, then you could opt for either a ride in the car to get the nap, or a stroller ride. Those are two alternatives to napping in the crib, if all else fails and your attempts did not work at all. But what you wouldn't do is haul her out of the crib and rock her in your arms, because then all you might be doing is teaching her that if she cries long enough, eventually you'll rock her in your arms. And then I find that there's no reduction in crying. In fact, the time limit of crying can just increase as the days go on instead of decreasing, because she knows that I just hang in there long enough and eventually my mom will rock me. And because of her age being 1, you can be sure that she will very quickly figure that out. Within a day or two, she will know that. So really give it your best effort, and commit to 2 weeks of really, making it 100% effort. And by the end of 2 weeks, you should see that progress is being made and that naps have started to come around. Okay, so thanks a lot for your question. Sleep well.